I, 26F, have been with my fiancé Robert, 30M, for 5 years. We met during my senior year of college when he came to fix the internet at my apartment. He worked for his dad's telecommunications company back then. It wasn't love at first sight or anything dramatic. We just clicked and started dating casually, which turned into something serious pretty quickly. Throughout our relationship, Robert has been completely integrated into my family. From the very beginning, my parents welcomed him warmly. He comes to every Sunday dinner, all our celebrations, and even joins our annual beach trips. My dad taught him how to golf, and my mom always makes his favorite apple pie when he visits. My sister adores him and says he's the brother she never had. We're 3 sisters. Even my overprotective older cousins approved of him, which is rare. The problem is, in these 5 years, I've only met half of Robert's family, just his mom and her relatives. His dad has consistently refused to meet me. According to Robert, his dad formed a negative opinion of me before we even started dating. Apparently, one of his dad's golf buddies has a daughter who went to college with me, and she told him I was a party girl because she saw me at a few college parties. Mind you, these were normal college parties where I wasn't even drinking, but his dad decided I was trouble based on this second-hand information. 2 years into our relationship, I had an argument with Robert's mom about boundaries. She had a habit of dropping by our apartment unannounced, sometimes as early as 7 a.m. on weekends. One morning, she walked in while I was in my pajamas making breakfast, and I finally spoke up. I was polite but firm about wanting some privacy and suggested we set up specific visiting times. She got extremely offended and didn't speak to me for 3 months. We eventually worked things out, mostly because Robert was stressed about being caught in the middle, but his dad added this to his list of reasons to dislike me. He told Robert the first was disrespectful to family values for wanting basic boundaries. The real ongoing issue is holidays. Every year since we started dating, Robert spends all major holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, even 4th of July, with his parents and grandparents at their lake house. If there's time afterwards, he might stop by my family's celebration for an hour or 2, usually when everyone's already leaving. I always tell him about my family's plans a month in advance. My mom likes to coordinate dishes and activities early. But Robert waits until a day or 2 before each holiday to confirm his parents' plans, leaving me in limbo about whether he'll make it to my family's celebration at all. Last year after Christmas, I finally broke down. Robert had promised to come to my family's Christmas dinner after spending the morning with his family. My mom had saved him a spot, made his favorite dishes, and my little nieces kept asking when Uncle Robert would arrive. He texted at 7 p.m. saying his parents decided to play board games so he'd stay longer. I was humiliated. Later that night, I told him how hurt I felt always being second priority. He promised to change but said he needed a chance to prove it. This is our first holiday season being engaged. We got engaged 6 months ago, another drama because his dad refused to meet me even then. Robert proposed at my family's beach house because he knew his dad wouldn't approve of him proposing at their lake house. Last week, Robert finally talked to his parents about including me in their holiday celebrations. His dad flat out refused and said he wouldn't have his holidays ruined by an outsider. Before this conversation, Robert and I had agreed that if his parents wouldn't include me, he wouldn't attend their celebrations either. He seemed committed to standing firm on this. Yesterday, Robert came home visibly upset after another talk with his parents. He started going on about how he's the only grandchild who regularly visits his grandparents and how they're getting older. His cousins all moved to different states, so he feels guilty about potentially missing holidays. I suggested he could visit them any other time since they only live an hour away, they're not on another continent. But he got defensive and said I was being insensitive. He keeps saying there are things I don't understand but won't explain what these mysterious things are. This isn't the first time his dad has disrespected me. When we moved in together 3 years ago, his dad told everyone at their company that I was trying to isolate Robert from his family. When we got engaged, he refused to acknowledge it and told relatives we weren't actually getting married, just playing house. Each time, Robert stays quiet and lets his dad say whatever he wants. He claims standing up to his dad would make things worse. Now with Thanksgiving just days away, Robert is heavily hinting that he might still go to his parents' celebration without me. When I reminded him of our agreement, he got frustrated and said I'm putting too much pressure on him. He's been distant for days, barely speaks to me, and spends most time in his home office with the door closed. I finally snapped yesterday and told him if he chooses to spend another holiday with his family while excluding me, I'll cancel the wedding. He called me controlling and said I don't understand family loyalty. I pointed out how he's been part of my family for years. He has his own Christmas stocking at my parents' house, a designated chair at family dinners, and my nieces and nephews call him uncle, while I'm not even allowed to meet his dad. This morning I overheard him on the phone with his mom, asking if there was any way to change his dad's mind. She apparently said his dad would rather not see Robert at all than have me there. Robert sounded devastated but still wouldn't stand up to them. I love Robert, but I'm starting to wonder if I can spend my life being excluded from half his family. His mom acts nice to my face now but clearly won't stand up to her husband either. I don't want my future kids growing up thinking it's okay for their grandfather to pretend their mother doesn't exist, or worse, believing all the nasty things he says about me. Am I wrong for giving him this ultimatum? Should I just accept that I'll never be part of his family's celebrations? I feel like I'm asking him to choose between me and his parents, but isn't that what his dad is already doing? I don't want to break up, but I also don't want to spend the rest of my life being treated like a dirty secret. Update when it's been 2 weeks since my last post, and I can't believe how much has changed. I need to get this off my chest because I feel like I'm going crazy. On Thanksgiving morning, Robert told me he wasn't feeling well. He said he probably had food poisoning from the takeout we had the night before, which was strange because we ate the same thing and I felt fine. He insisted I should go to my family's celebration without him and promised to try coming later if he felt better. I was worried about leaving him alone while sick, but he practically pushed me out the door. Looking back, I should have noticed how he kept checking his phone and acting nervous. I drove to my parents' house, making excuses for him to everyone. My mom had even made his favorite pumpkin cheesecake, and my little niece Emma had drawn him a special place card for the table. Around 3 p.m., while we were having dinner, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from his cousin Sarah's Instagram story. There was Robert, perfectly healthy, sitting at his parents' lake house dinner table, raising a glass and a family toast. The timestamp showed it was posted just minutes ago. In another photo, he was playing cards with his dad, both laughing. The caption read "Annual family tradition with the favorites." I nearly threw up at the dinner table. My sister noticed something was wrong and checked my phone. She gasped so loudly that everyone turned to look. My mom took one glance at the photos and her face went dark. I've never seen her so angry. My dad tried to salvage the situation by suggesting maybe Robert went to his parents after feeling better, but the timestamps on the photos showed he'd been there all day. I sat through the rest of dinner in a daze, smiling mechanically as relatives asked about wedding plans. Emma kept asking why Uncle Robert didn't like her drawing. Each question felt like a knife in my chest. I left as soon as I could, ignoring my family's concerns. When I got home, our apartment was empty. Around 9 p.m., Robert finally came back, smelling like his mom's signature apple pie. He froze when he saw me sitting in the dark living room. Before he could spew more lies, I showed him the photos. Instead of apologizing, he got defensive and finally revealed the truth. His dad had called him the night before with an ultimatum. Either Robert spent holidays exclusively with his family and stopped pushing to include me, or he would lose his inheritance and his position at the family company. Apparently, his dad had been grooming him to take over the business for years. The company is worth millions and Robert stood to inherit not just the business but also several properties including the lake house. When I asked why he couldn't just get another job, he looked at me like I was speaking alien language. He tried to justify his actions by saying he was doing this for us, that with his inheritance, we could have a better life than if he defied his parents. I told him I'd rather live in a cardboard box with someone who respects me than in a mansion with a liar who lets his family treat me like garbage. The next morning, while Robert was in the shower, his mom showed up unannounced again. She was crying, mascara running down her face. She sat me down and revealed that Robert's dad's hatred of me wasn't really about me at all. 25 years ago, before he met Robert's mom, his dad was married to his college sweetheart. She left him for their neighbor after 3 years of marriage, taking half his assets in the divorce. Apparently, I remind him of her. We have similar hair color and career aspirations. His mom begged me to understand that Robert was in an impossible position. She said he loved me but also loved his family, and his dad's approval meant everything to him. When I asked why she never defended me all these years, she started rambling about family peace and keeping her husband calm. I called her and Robert cowards for enabling his dad's irrational behavior based on his past trauma. That evening, after his mom left, Robert tried to make things right. He suggested we could have separate holiday celebrations. He would spend the actual holidays with his family and we could celebrate a day before or after. When I pointed out this was exactly what we've been doing for 5 years, he got frustrated and said I was making things difficult. I packed a bag while he was still talking. My sister had already offered her guest room, anticipating I might need space. As I was leaving, Robert grabbed my arm and promised he would figure something out by Christmas. I asked him why he thought I would believe anything he said after he lied to my face and humiliated me in front of my entire family. He's been calling and texting constantly since I left. His messages swing between angry, saying I'm overreacting and trying to control him, and pleading, promising to talk to his dad again. Yesterday he even sent a video of himself crying, saying he's losing everything he loves. I haven't responded. My sister thinks I should just end things now rather than drag it out, but 5 years is a long time to just throw away. He had multiple chances to stand up to his parents and chose not to every single time. Even now, his biggest concern seems to be losing his inheritance rather than losing me. I keep thinking about Emma's sad face when she realized Robert wasn't coming, and how my mom quietly threw away the cheesecake she'd made specially for him. My family treated him like one of their own for 5 years, while his family wouldn't even give me a chance. How do I move forward from this level of betrayal? Update 2: It's been a month since I moved out and the situation has gotten even more twisted than I imagined. Last week, I met up with my friend Katie for coffee. She works at the same hospital as Robert's cousin Sarah, the one who posted those Thanksgiving photos. Katie told me something that made my blood boil. Apparently, Robert has been telling everyone that I moved out because I'm having severe mental health issues and refused to get help. He claimed I became paranoid and controlling, demanding he cut off his family entirely. His dad has been using this lie to convince their entire extended family that he was right about me all along, saying things like I knew she was unstable from the beginning. Even Robert's mom, who cried to me about wanting to make things right, has been spreading these rumors. Sarah told Katie that during a recent family dinner, his mom described me as mentally unwell and suggested Robert was lucky to see my true colors before the wedding. This is the same woman who begged me to be patient with their family just a month ago. I was still processing this betrayal when I received a Facebook message from someone named Lisa, Robert's sister. I didn't even know he had a sister. Turns out, she lives in Australia and hasn't been home in years because she also can't stand their dad's controlling behavior. She wanted to warn me about something she thought I should know. 4 years before Robert met me, he was in a serious relationship with a woman named Michelle. They dated for 3 years and were planning to get married. His dad didn't approve of her either, apparently because she wanted to keep her job after marriage instead of staying home like his mom. Rather than stand up to his family, Robert broke up with Michelle 2 months before their planned wedding. He told everyone she cheated on him to save face, but Lisa knew the truth. Lisa apologized for not warning me sooner. She said she thought Robert might have changed since then, especially given how long we were together. She also revealed something that made me feel sick: Robert never actually talked to his dad about including me in holiday celebrations. The conversation he claimed to have had, where his dad supposedly threatened to cut him off. It never happened. According to Lisa, Robert made up that story when she confronted him about avoiding family gatherings with Michelle too. This revelation pushed me to finally do what I should have done weeks ago. I called Robert and told him I was calling off the engagement. He started with his usual excuses, but I cut him off. I told him I knew about Michelle and that he'd lied about talking to his dad. Instead of denying it, he broke down and admitted everything. He confessed he'd known from the beginning that his dad would never accept me. He claimed he truly loved me but couldn't bear the thought of disappointing his father. When I asked about the mental health rumors, he tried to justify them by saying he needed to protect his reputation at the company. That was the last straw. I told him he clearly wasn't ready for marriage if he couldn't put his future wife before his parents' approval. He said I was right but still begged for another chance, saying he'd get therapy and learn to stand up to his dad. I asked him why he hadn't done that at any point in the past 5 years. His silence was answer enough. The next day, I went to our apartment while he was at work and packed all my things. My brother and his friends helped me move everything into storage until I find my own place. I left my engagement ring on the kitchen counter with a note asking him to please stop contacting me. Robert's mom called me crying again, saying I was tearing their family apart. I laughed and told her their family was already broken if they had to destroy other people's relationships to keep it together. She hung up on me. The hardest part wasn't packing up 5 years of memories or even returning the ring. It was realizing that the man I loved never really existed. The Robert the first thought I knew, the one who was kind, honest, and brave, was just a facade. The real Robert is a coward who would rather lie to everyone than stand up to his father. I've blocked Robert and his entire family on everything except email, which I'm keeping open only until we finish sorting out the lease on our apartment. My sister says I'm handling this better than she expected, but honestly, I'm just tired. Tired of the lies, tired of the manipulation, and tired of being treated like I'm crazy for wanting basic respect. The only silver lining in all this is that I found out before we got married. I can't imagine discovering all this after having kids with him, or worse, watching our children go through the same emotional manipulation I experienced. Some things really do happen for a reason. Update 3 months have passed since I ended things with Robert, and I finally feel ready to share the latest developments. Last weekend, my sister's friend forwarded me a Facebook post that left me speechless. Robert announced his engagement to a woman named Rebecca, barely 2 months after our breakup. His dad proudly shared the news, calling her the daughter he always wanted and welcoming her to their close-knit family. The post was filled with photos from their lake house, showing Rebecca sitting in the spot at their dinner table that I was never allowed to occupy. The most shocking part? Rebecca is practically a carbon copy of Robert's dad's first wife. Robert's sister sent me an old photo from their dad's first wedding, and the resemblance is uncanny. Same blonde hair, same profession, they're both elementary school teachers, even the same alma mater. It seems his dad's issues were never really about me being unstable or disrespectful. He was just waiting for his son to find someone who could replace the wife who left him. According to Lisa, Robert's sister, Rebecca was actually introduced to Robert at Christmas, while I was still living in our apartment. She's the daughter of one of his dad's business partners, and their families have known each other for years. His parents had apparently been trying to set them up even while Robert and I were together. The speed of their engagement makes me wonder if something was going on even before we broke up, but honestly, I'm past caring. My friend Katie ran into Robert and Rebecca at the grocery store last week. She said Robert looked uncomfortable and quickly walked away, while Rebecca proudly showed off her ring, the same one that was on my finger just months ago. I've blocked Robert and his entire family on everything. The only recent contact was through our lawyers to handle the lease termination. Robert tried to get his mom to convince me to keep my old engagement ring as a parting gift, but I had already sold it and donated the money to a domestic violence shelter. Something about helping other women escape toxic relationships felt right. My life has taken some positive turns since everything happened. I moved into my own apartment in a different part of the city. It's smaller than where I lived with Robert, but it's entirely mine. I've been promoted at work. Turns out having less emotional drama in your life really helps you focus on your career. I've even started dating someone new, nothing serious yet, but he proudly introduces me to his friends and family. Last week, he invited me to his sister's birthday dinner without hesitation. It was refreshing to be wanted and welcomed instead of hidden away like a secret. My niece Emma asked about Uncle Robert at a recent family dinner. I simply told her sometimes grown-ups realize they're not right for each other, and that's okay. She gave me a hug and said she likes seeing me smile more now. Kids really do notice everything. Sometimes I catch myself missing the future I thought I would have with Robert, but then I remember how it felt sitting alone at that Thanksgiving table while he smiled for family photos without me. I think about all the holidays I spent waiting for him to show up, all the lies he told, and how easily he replaced me once I stopped accepting his excuses. I deserve better than being someone's secret, better than a man who chooses his inheritance over honesty, better than a family that spreads lies about my mental health to protect their image. It took me 5 years and a broken engagement to learn this lesson, but at least I learned it before saying I do. My mom says everything happens for a reason. Maybe she's right. Maybe I had to go through all this to learn what I really want in a partner, someone who's proud to have me in their life, not someone who hides me from it.